Today we are chatting about goals and specifically using the OKR method to set those goals. And so more importantly, once you've got your goals and you really understand it, then implementing that into Engagedly, since you already have that product, how can we use Engagedly to match what we already want to accomplish with goals? So a little bit about myself, this is just the blurb, but again, I am partnered with Gabby. I work with customers throughout the United States and help them with their onboarding. I come from the classroom. Not sure if Gabby has ever mentioned that to you as well, but we share a similar background. I left the classroom about 10 years ago and switched over to software as a service. So products like Engagedly. I did a lot with school districts, and I've really been helping folks with their implementation. So Gabby and I are a great team. I couldn't do this without her. That is for certain. So our agenda today, I really wanted the key takeaways for you to be kind of wrapping your head around the OKR process, using the SMART framework to help kind of develop your OKRs, and then how to create those and update them in Engagedly. Nikki, how familiar are you with OKRs, objectives, and key results?
I'd say I'm probably middle of the road.
Okay, cool. And is that at your organization, do you guys push more using OKRs? Do you do just we're happy with whatever goals? Kind of catch me up where you guys are at in this process.
Sure. So the company that I'm at now, we are this is brand new to them. So we are just now rolling out the performance management tool across the company. Different managers have done, they do their own, whatever that looks like, if it's a spreadsheet, if it's a Word document, if it's a piece of paper. So I'm just now kind of getting caught up to speed with where the manager, what the managers are doing. We did just roll out company objectives for 2023.
Nice.
So
Excellent.
those will be uploaded into Engagedly. And then what we want is for every department to have their goal conversations with their direct reports, have everyone create their own goals, load them into Engagedly after we finish the trainings, and then build out their key results and figure out how those align up with our company objectives. So so we have some people who have never done goals. We have some that have done them at other organizations, and every mix in between. So we're kind of in a...
Yep. That sounds about right.
Yep.
Everybody kind of has different experiences, and we all kind of call them the same and different things. So we'll start with kind of then some basics, and then talk about how you can really use Engagedly to support that. So first up is just simply, what is an OKR? And it's kind of defined right in the title: objectives and key results. So the objective, like you mentioned, you guys have your company goals in there. What are the top things that we want to achieve? And I love that you guys are already doing them from the company level. If an employee is still kind of new, they can really even think of these on their own personal level. But the more a company aligns their goals and puts out, these are our objectives, departments can then create their own that align and fulfill that need. And the more you really set up those objectives and are clear about what that's going to look like, it allows people to help kind of determine what their day-to-day is going to look like. If the company objective is really focusing on revenue this quarter and I'm on the sales team, that's going to look very different than if I'm on the marketing team. But knowing those objectives help everybody stay aligned. So that's really the main purpose, is starting it from the top, defining those very few, very important initiatives that then, as you mentioned, folks can align to, have their own key results that are helping the company reach those objectives. So, kind of talking through it, the objective is really just a qualitative broad statement. This is what we want to accomplish in a set amount of time frame to help move our organization or even just my own professional development forward. And it can be a little overwhelming. It's really easy to like write a goal, right? Think about your New Year's resolutions. I can say every year, I'm going to lose weight, but what's my real objective? Is it health? Is it longevity? Is it mobility, right? Like really thinking a little bit above what's the main purpose that's going to keep me moving forward. So we like to kind of break it down. Everybody loves the SMART framework. And I think the SMART framework really supports what you can do as you're writing your objectives, as well as putting it into Engagedly, because Engagedly really naturally supports all of these pieces. So in the SMART framework, it starts simply with creating a specific goal. What are the specific things we're wanting to achieve? And by asking yourself this question as an individual employee helps you define your own. So you're in a great situation, Nikki, that you've already have company goals. So I know my organization is looking to achieve this. You know, for those of us who that's still a new process, maybe it's what are my manager's priorities? And then if I'm kind of on a boat of my own, what are my priorities? And sometimes you do have your own. I always have my own professional development goals that are not necessarily aligned to the organization, but I just start out with what are my priorities so I can help write a specific goal. And then in SMART, moving on to the M, how are you going to measure your success? I think asking these questions as you're developing your objective really helps set that framework. And kind of the buzzword of today, the boundaries. I'm going to set myself a really hard boundary of I have 1 month to accomplish this. And that helps me with the attainable portion of SMART goals. Is this objective attainable in this time frame? I know that it's measurable, but is it actually attainable? Is this something that I can do? Am I being a little too lofty, or am I undershooting myself? It's pretty amazing what you can accomplish when you set those boundaries for yourself. And then our R really focuses on is this a realistic goal? Do you have the resources that you need, the tools that you need so that you are able to be successful and accomplish this goal? And if you need those tools, define them. What are they? Maybe that's a precursor to this objective and this key result that you need to be trained in something first. But really setting that, is this goal realistic because I have the tools I need to accomplish it? And then T is timely. Give yourself that deadline. You know how you're going to measure that success. You know the boundary in which you want to do that. Just define it. Define that timeline. All right, Nikki, I'm going to pause just because there. Do you have any questions, any thoughts so far? Do you think this is helpful knowledge for your employees?
This is very helpful. Yes, keep rolling.
Awesome. So we'll practice. We're a tiny group. We can kind of fake practice, or you can real practice, Nikki, whatever you prefer. But starting with an objective, I think one of the best pieces of advice I've ever received is really starting this with a verb, which feels a little weird coming from a teacher, but start it with a verb and give yourself that action to push you in that direction. So I have an example that I created, asked myself the question, what do you, Wendy, want to accomplish in the next 3 months at Engagedly? And I made it kind of basic, keep making revenue, right? That's our goal. But that's often what companies have, right? We want to increase our revenue. We want to stay profitable, right? And so what does that actually look like? So thinking about starting it with a verb, I want to achieve record quarter growth. Now that quarter, I would much more define that, give it a window, third quarter, second quarter, whatever it is. And really then you think through those SMART goal steps. I am specific. I know I want to reach record growth in a specific timeline, and then start thinking through those questions. Do I have the tools that I need? What am I going to need to accomplish this? And then just starting to write those objectives. But let's just kind of pause right there. Any questions about kind of the purpose of the objective in the OKR framework?
No questions from me. This is good.
Cool. All right. So then part 2, the key results. Once you've truly defined the specific goal that you're wanting to achieve, that specific objective, either defined it for the organization, defined it for the individual, whatever that looks like, it's kind of a wish statement. I wish I could achieve record results in the third quarter. The key results are really going to give you the pieces that you need to accomplish it. How am I going to measure this? Because these are going to be your milestones that really indicate that you're making progress towards this goal. And I think one of the hardest things when it comes to key results is folks tend to create like a to-do list. I need to, whatever that is. I was trying to think of something generic really quickly, but it starts to be more of a to-do list, and you really want them to be things that you're measuring, not just like items you're crossing off the list. So I went back to my example, my achieve record quarter growth. How will I get there? Okay, maybe I come up with, I'm going to launch a new line of business. Great, I'm in the sales department. That's what I really want to focus on. But what specifically will get me there? Instead of just a checklist, it's going to be a very specific task-oriented item, right? I generate 100K in new revenue, reduce customer churn. I'm very specific. I've got times, details of how I'm going to measure, and onboarding 300 new clients. So these objectives, as I'm achieving these key results, let me back that up. These key results, I'll know as I'm onboarding new clients, I'm helping, that's because they are new clients, so that's helping me achieve that record quarter growth. So let me pause right there, see if you have any questions.
Nope, I like those answers. That's good.
Awesome. Let's transition from kind of the setting and creating. And of course, Nikki, if you'd like to pause and talk through any of the objectives you guys have already set, I think we definitely have time for that, being that it's a one-on-one here. Okay. But we're going to look at, how do I get this into Engagedly? That's kind of our next steps. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video, if I can back her up.
Creating an individual goal. Select Home. Select Goals module at the top. Click Create. Admins can add individual, organization, business, or department level goals. Set the time period in which you are looking to work on this goal. Measurement can either be percentage completion or quantity to achieve a set target value. Choose the category and cadence for how often you would like notifications for check-in on this goal. Assign the goal to yourself or someone else, or cascade it to a group of contributors. Key results can be added to measure progress towards your goal. If you have key results, choose the measurement type for each. Once you are done creating this goal, click Save. Your goal can be found within the My Goals tab.
So Nikki, the point of me grabbing that is It's just
Creating
that
an
simple. Oh, let
individual
me mute her. I'm going to find a screenshot here. It is just that simple inside of Engagedly. And I feel like Engagedly really supports both OKRs and the SMART framework really lovely. You've got your goal at the top, which is really your big objective for your current iteration. Set the time period, so we're making sure it's really timely. Determine how you're going to measure it, and then add key results. So all of those things we really talked about in the beginning just naturally flow into Engagedly. So I am going to switch over. Let me switch out of here. And we're going to go live into Engagedly for just a moment. So I've created that same goal from the presentation, achieve record growth with my key results, new revenue, reduce customer churn, and onboard clients. So once it's created, and the video kind of walked us through the creation. So this is what happens after. Now employees can come in and simply check in on their goal, update their progress. And in that video, we saw you can have a target that's a specific amount. You can have a milestone, and you can have percentages. So there's multiple ways to measure your progress to support those key results. And then employees can just come in and update their, let's say now I've met with 70% of my new clients. I can add comments and detailed notes. And Engagedly really is meant to support that SMART framework of helping people achieve their goals. And research has really shown us over the years that having this visual representation of their progress towards their goal helps people to be more successful, opposed to just, January 1st, write that resolution and forget about it. Having regular check-ins, clarity into what they're doing, and then that visibility as well for managers to be able to see and support, the senior leadership to be able to see how things are going. All of this helps really define that success when implementing the goals module. Now, one thing that is super cool in Engagedly is it doesn't just live alone. You can see here, I'm my sweet friend, Joey Tribbiani, in my test account here. I can align my goal to higher goals. So backing up to what you mentioned at the beginning, we have organization, company-wide goals. Fantastic. Not one person is responsible for achieving that goal. If it was one person's responsibility, it wouldn't be a company goal. Company goals are really meant to be achieved by the organization. Department goals achieved by folks in the department. And so Engagedly supports that as well. I'm going to align my current goal here to the business expansion goal. And so what that does, I'm going to click this view hierarchy. I know this is really tiny, so just kind of bear with me. I'll zoom in, but it gets bigger as it expands, gets a little strange. But I can see here, there is an organization goal at this Friends & Co. company called business expansion. And inside of here, departments can then align their goals. You can see here, actually, here's my own personal goal. Maybe it actually lined right up, but people and departments can align their goals to this organization goal. And for example, as I scroll in to make that a little bit easier to see, the Human Resources Department is going to support business expansion by expanding the sales team with 3 new hires. Very specific key result and objective that they're looking to meet to support the overall company. And inside of the Human Resources Department, because there was clarity of this is what our department is doing, Judy, Emma, and Emily can now create their own individual objectives with key results to help them make progress towards that department goal. And then that department goal, because it's aligned to the company goal, it all filters up. So just kind of thinking about how Engagedly works. Judy would come in and check in on her goal. It's completely independent of Emma. Emma would be required to come in and check in on her goal of 10 sales executives. Emily also has a similar goal. These three ladies have aligned their goals to that department goal. So the department goal is showing progress. Again, not one person owns a department goal, because then that would be an individual goal. So this department goal is accomplished by the three ladies' progress of their own goals. And so that this is an average of Judy, Emma, and Emily's goals. If I zoom out just a little bit more, the same is true of an organization goal. Departments, individual folks can align their goals to the organization goal, and the organization, that objective that they clearly defined, is being accomplished by everybody who's aligned to it. So as people update their own goals, it trickles up. That's not the right thing. Filters up. Yes. It goes up. We trickle down and fill the cup. But it completes those goals because of individuals making progress towards their very measurable key results and updating those within the system. So Nikki, knowing that you're soon going to launch this, let's just kind of pivot to you. Do you have specific questions or ideas you'd like to explore? I know you're kind of seeing this for the first-ish time, but getting close to training and rolling this out. Any thoughts that have crossed your mind?
Not for me, no. I used Engagedly at a different company several years ago.
Right.
So I'm familiar with how it worked, how I used it, and how it worked for our company.
Gotcha.
I think this looks really good. I love Friends & Co.
I know. And it's ridiculous how built it is. Like, who are all these characters? I mean, I know who they are, but like,
I know them all.
Somebody thought of Emma, right? Like,
perfect. No, I love it. And yeah, no, this is helpful just to see how the individual and department goals can align up to the company and see how everyone's making a difference.
Oh, sorry, I did. Yes, I love that sentence. You see how everybody's making a difference, because I think that's where we get kind of stuck when we start creating objectives for an organization. It's kind of too broad almost at the beginning, right? You like, well, who's going to do this and who's going to do what? That's up to the individuals. Hopefully there's guidance, but my day-to-day behaviors and activities, because there's a company goal and something we are striving for as a group, will help dictate what I'm doing to make that happen. So I think that's really the picture to paint. We collectively achieve organization goals. We collectively achieve department goals that then help achieve those organization goals. So the better that those objectives are written, the clarity of them, when should this be accomplished? What are we looking to do? That helps people define their own.
Excellent.
So that being said, though, I want to show you, you may be familiar with it already. Let me close all of this. We do have some resources built into Engagedly that you may be interested in. Although as I say this, let me make sure I've got it set up. Yeah, perfect. So I know this is my account here. This is my Friends & Co. company. But everybody's got a 3x3 grid when you log into Engagedly. We're still figuring out the real name. I call it a waffle. It's like a candy box. It's all food related, but this 3x3 here has an academy. And inside of the academy, specifically in the goal settings, are some courses Engagedly has created for you. Most of them are something similar, like read through a PowerPoint, answer a couple of questions. But as you guys are starting out, you mentioned people are kind of at various levels. We've got some courses here to really focus on just simple goal setting. That SMART framework, which I think helps kind of clarify how you set all this up, specifically OKRs. And then there's even one about aligning company goals. So anybody can come in here and enroll in one of these courses. So if there's something that somebody wants to explore, they could come in here and enroll. And I'm as an admin, Nikki, I assume you probably have admin rights as well.
Yes.
You can come in and you can assign these to members. So if you were to explore the academy and you really love aligning company goals and want to assign that to your leadership team, you can just come in, assign it, they get a notification in Engagedly, and then they can complete that course.
Great.
Cool. So we went a little bit quicker because I didn't make you stop and like write objectives, key results. Would you like any support in that? Anything that we can kind of have you walk away feeling a little bit more comfortable?
No, I don't think so. I think this is helpful
Awesome.
because you say
Well,
you say it so much better than me.
Thank you. Lots of practice. That is eventually our purpose of these. So I really appreciate that feedback is we're wanting to create kind of some asynchronous tools for your employees to reference back and learn a little bit more, and not always focused purely on what that looks like in Engagedly, but the how to, right? Like the creating
Yes.
goals in Engagedly, that's a 5-minute video. Click add, fill in your stuff. You've practiced before, but this is more to help folks write those and think about the process.
That's right. And I know Engagedly has a great help section. The help link where you can type in, from an admin to a user
Yep.
to a manager. But a lot of those are the how do you do it? Like it's the technical, you go here, you do this, you do that, done. I like this part of it because it helps you with the why. Why am I using Engagedly? Why am I putting in goals? I like this type of a help, kind of a training for, at least for our people, at least for the ones that aren't used to doing goals. This is invaluable. This is really
awesome.
good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that feedback. All right. Well, that's really it for my agenda today.